Hey everyone, I'm Alvin.
And I'm Sid.
I'm Melanie.
And today we're going to be talking about the very first episode of Star Trek Picard, Remembrance.
Live long and prosper.
Engage.
On screen.
I'm giving it all she's got, Captain.
Do it.
Photon torpedoes armed and ready to launch.
He's dead, Jim.
Red alert.
Today is a good day to die.
I'm a doctor, not a zookeeper.
We are Borg.
Make it so.
Warp speed, now.
Okay, so the very first episode just dropped. Actually, it dropped like 2 days ago, but this is the first chance we've had to actually talk about it.
Was it just yesterday? Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some time to let it sit. Sid, I think you watched it yesterday. Mel, you just watched it earlier
Just
today.
watched it today, yeah.
What did you guys think?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It was actually a very good start. In comparison to, say, Discovery, it's now feeling as if I wanted it to be, like, slow, easygoing.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was so rushed, like through Discovery and through a lot of the JJ movies, which I'll get into in a minute. In the second portion of our review, I feel it's always like A to B to C, and this is one of the worries I had that this would happen with Picard, was that it would just be breakneck all the time, no time to breathe, and I was very happy that I felt like it was a nice slow burn. We're given time to connect with Jean-Luc again,
Yeah, and see where he's at, connect with him now, as opposed to, how we remember him being.
How he was.
Just nice kind of gradual start. I definitely felt like by the end of the episode that, not that the end came too abruptly, because I think it was the place to end it and that kind of beginning part of the story, but it made me immediately want to watch the second episode, because I felt like there was way more to the story that it's a good beginning, but
it felt like a prologue, right?
Yeah,
like the
it
story,
did, definitely.
Like it's going to start in the next episode, and I think
it'll really start in the next episode. Yeah,
and I think Sid had mentioned this, in our pre-show discussion, where with any of the other Star Treks, when you start off, it was always a two-parter, premiere, and you got the first part, the second part, and I feel like we essentially just got like the first part of anything.
Yeah, but if you don't have 24 episodes or something in the season, then you can't do a two-part.
Yeah, they need to with the 10 episodes that they're doing. It's obvious that they're stretching it. They don't want to drop it all at once, and I can understand that. But it's also it's much more serialized. What I will say is, if you're not into the serialization type of storytelling, I mean, this is not going to be for you. It's definitely going to be. Like, you need to watch it from start to finish.
They're not necessarily self-contained episodes. We can kind of dip in, dip out as long as you kind of
bottle
get to know
shows.
the characters, which is how the old Star Treks were.
Even in the later years of, I'd say 90s Star Trek, leading into
Deep Space Nine,
and then into Star Trek Enterprise, where you have episode arcs. Two-parter, three-parter episodes.
Yeah, like season 3, they did like a whole season
long. Was all serialized, as mentioned, right?
Yeah, and then season 4, they did those nice mini arcs, which I kind of liked. Actually. Yeah, but it was a nice slow burn. Patrick Stewart is so good as Jean-Luc Picard.
And I love his dog.
Yeah,
Number one. Cute pupper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, I liked it. There are two parts where I felt were just a little bit jarring. But other than that, I was very happy with it. I was quite satisfied. There's a lot of callbacks. There's a lot of little things that, if you're not if you're a casual fan and maybe you're not up on all the lore, I mean, you'll see something and you'll know that there's some type of meaning there. But when you grew up with Star Trek and you've all the details and the little things, when you start seeing things, like when you see this is a little bit of a spoiler. When you see certain things that are placed and shown, it's like, this is, I remember this, I remember that. And for me, the biggest thing is, what I love the most is that, and he's going to say tea Earl Grey hot. He's going to have tea, Earl Grey tea.
Oh yeah, all those small minor things, right?
But I will say is, when you see him ask for it, he asks for it like a normal person would ask for it. It's not, tea Earl Grey hot. Wink to the audience.
It's mentioned a couple times in the episode, and if you order like coffee or something, it would be a lot different. But yeah, you can definitely hear in his voice. He's retired. He's relaxed. He's not as like
I was
the captain kind of with that command in his voice as much. I mean, he can still pull it out, but
I was happy. Like Terminator, the newest Terminator movie came out recently, and that was this one giant all callbacks. And when they did the callbacks though, it was like, here's a callback smacking in your face. Like
here's a callback, and here's like a light shining on it, like a spotlight. Yeah.
And it was just it was everything that was in there was sprinkled the way it should be. And whenever they did do something and showed you something, it felt at no point did I feel
felt natural.
Yeah, it didn't feel out of place.
And if you are a more casual Star Trek fan, you don't need to get those in order to enjoy the episode. Whereas I think sometimes when they throw in too many callbacks to things in, remakes and sequels, it feels like you're missing something to a lot of people who are more casual.
Exactly. Should I know that? Is that important? No.
And this one, I think they did a pretty good job of introducing it.
Yeah.
And so it's little bonuses. And also, I feel like I kind of need to watch the episode again. I might have missed some stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. So this ends the non-spoiler version of a review. So
there will be spoilers coming.
So overall, I enjoyed it. It was I mean,
I said, I think like it left me wanting more, which is what you want from a first episode.
Yeah, it was a very good start, and I really enjoyed that episode, and I actually got emotional. And it's very good. It's a good start.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Holy smokes!
Right?
Holy smokes! Okay. So the episode starts off with Data and Picard on the Enterprise D, and it's quite obvious it's a dream sequence, right?
It's pretty obvious,
because right away, Data's uniform, I was like, wait a minute.
It was a Nemesis uniform.
It was a Nemesis or First Contact / DS mid-season DS9 uniforms.
Yeah, they're very militaristic.
There was no correlation there.
Yeah, Picard's in his like civilian clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're playing poker, which I liked as like a callback to Next Gen when they all played poker.
Yeah, they're drinking tea.
He's drinking tea.
Drinking tea.
Picard notices that they're suddenly in orbit of Mars, and he's realizing something's wrong. And we see explosions on the surface of Mars, and there's a big explosion that blasts through the windows of 10 forward, and then Picard wakes up, right? And we see that he's on Château Picard. We're introduced to his 2 Romulan companions or assistants, helpers, protectors, whatever.
Assuming they kind of like help run the vineyard or something for him too. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Because we saw like when he looked out the window that in the very first shot after he woke up, like there's a bunch of workers in the fields. There's like tractors and stuff. So obviously it's like, it's a working vineyard. Yeah.
Yeah. So part of his anxiety too is that there's going to be, he's agreed to an interview with the Federation News Network, who I don't think we've seen since maybe generations.
Yeah, but it's neat to see. It's neat to see the media and like the larger world outside of Star Trek in the Star Trek universe, and like how everyday life in the media works in that.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of little cool futuristic things that they do, like when they're picking. I don't know if they're picking out her hair color or they were picking like
her makeup or something. I think they were
that.
tweaking her makeup or something. I thought.
Yeah,
I have to watch it again. There are a lot of little details that I think I didn't quite grab because I wasn't watching close enough.
I watched it 3 times, and every time I watched it, I just pick up more. You see more, you notice more and more, right? But yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't catch that little thing. I missed that thing, But like, oh my god, there was a little cars there, like the way, the standard Starfleet, button pad type thing, right?
Yeah,
and the way how even they showcase not just only Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco, but they showcased Boston in its futuristic form, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And seeing traffic like in midair, like all the shuttlecraft or whatever.
Which you would expect from a futuristic city.
Yeah, because, there's traffic jams, all that stuff.
Midair traffic jams.
Midair traffic jams.
Same as now, just in midair.
Yeah. So they basically, so you've been having anxiety about this, and they're there to talk to him about the supernova that destroyed Romulus. So it's pretty obvious that the reporter's gonna get hostile with him, right, and poke the bear, right?
Yeah, I mean they're like, oh, she promised not to, and I'm like, she's definitely gonna do it. As soon as I said that, I'm like, she's gonna ask him about that.
Yeah. So apparently what happened was so the Romulan star is going supernova, and the Federation has agreed to help the Romulans evacuate, and for some reason we don't know why yet.
Yeah,
some synthetic humanoids like Data attack Mars, And they had a lot of callbacks here too. So basically, they attack Mars. 90,000 people are killed. Apparently, Mars is still burning. The Utopia Planitia shipyard, which has been mentioned numerous times in Star Trek. This is one of the main building yards for Starfleet.
Yep.
The Enterprise D was built there.
The Enterprise D was built. There was even the Enterprise E as well.
Probably the E.
And then there's like
maybe Voyager. I can't remember.
Voyager was built there as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Seen it only a couple. No, it was.
All the ships were built there.
Not
Just
all of them,
assume the ships are built there.
Yeah, a lot of them.
We've seen only glimpses of it a couple times. So it was nice to see if we actually get to see what happens and see the whole shipyard. But yeah, that gets destroyed, and because of that, Starfleet, uses that as an excuse to pull back the rescue armada, and then subsequently, they ban all synthetic life forms. And at first I was like, well, that's pretty extreme,
but they have a history of doing that, don't they? With like genetic manipulations, or I can't get the word out. That's what I thought too. I'm like, Starfleet, and they tend to be kind of reactionary about things like that. Like they don't look into why did this happen this time. They just like, we're gonna ban everything. It'll fix everything. I'm like,
I felt that they overreacted like hard. But
again, I didn't feel like it was out of character for them, because they do have a history of doing that with these kind of things.
Yeah, they do have a history of that. But at the same time, it's like even under the Federation, it's still kind of harsh.
Well, you wish you would hope that they wouldn't in this kind of Federation utopian society, but I'm not surprised that they did.
We've seen this numerous times. Like, for us, so they banned genetically enhanced humans. They dealt with this in DS9 with Dr. Julian Bashir, where he is an enhanced human. And they had a couple episodes where he's helping other enhanced humans, right? Khan was an augment, right?
Yep.
You had the eugenics wars that were a big issue in Star Trek history, and that's just one example. we look at some other dumb Federation, decisions. There are plenty of them.
We love the Federation, but you've made some dumb decisions.
The whole, the Maquis resettlement. In Star Trek Insurrection, the whole sonar relocation.
They're not perfect.
They're
not perfect like we want them to be.
And it's obvious. It's and this is again what I was. A part of me is happy that they're dealing with this, because I can see how a Borg angle can work in here. I'm wondering, what about what happened to the Doctor? Does he count?
But I was going to say,
right?
and then there was then again, just random sidetrack, like they on Star Trek Voyager, they showed one time like all the other EMHs. Yes, they were all and they were all being used in a mining facility. So I'm wondering if like what happened to them now?
We see numerous examples throughout TNG where Data himself, people don't believe. Are you sentient? Really? Are you? He captains a ship, and then one of his first officer doesn't believe that an android should be commanding the ship. We had Dr. Pulaski, who was always suspicious. Like, are you sentient? You know what I mean?
Or are you just mimicking it?
Exactly. So we've had numerous examples of
but then you have
that.
Picard, who was very much like, no, Data was a person. He was my friend,
And it's nice because essentially I feel like we're going to be dealing, because this can be compared to numerous issues now, where you have a group that, because of the actions of a few or fear, etc., they're persecuted, right? Banned, etc., because of that.
And it's easy for people in power to go, you're not like us, so it's okay if we do this to you,
Out with thee.
Yeah, exactly. So, and of course, this hurts Picard. She asks him, why did you leave Starfleet? He said, because it's not Starfleet anymore. And he gets very, very upset. He ends the interview, right?
Yeah, he abruptly ends it there. Obviously, there's a lot more behind.
There's a lot more.
In retrospect, they should have pre-recorded that interview and not done it live. But
it would have been better that way.
Yeah. Now, moving on to Dahj. Now, Dahj is in Boston, so this is why we end up in Boston. She's, she's talking to her boyfriend. She just got into the Daystrom Institute. Romulan suddenly beam in. They kill the boyfriend, and they go to try and kidnap her. And something clicks in her head where she becomes a super fighter person or
machine.
Her defense, I'd say her defense mechanism kicked in, and then she pretty much kicks ass.
With a bag over her head. She can't see.
She takes him out. And of course she's scared, she's worried. She runs out into the streets. She sees this interview. Oh no, sorry.
First she sees Picard in her head.
She has flashes of Picard, right? She sees Picard, doing this interview. She finds Picard on in France, right? And at first, and it was kind of a nice scene where she's like, she's describing what happened, and Jean-Luc is kind of like, who are you? What's happening? It's okay. He can tell she's upset,
Right.
and he's not like, you crazy person, get off my lawn.
Right. And he doesn't necessarily, I think, believe at this point that, everything that she's saying, but he's like, well, you believe this, and you seem very upset. So come on in and have some tea, like young lady.
Yeah, it's like, it's okay.
Let's put a blanket around your shoulders, give you some Earl Grey, it'll fix everything.
Yeah.
They send, they guide her to bed, and there's this kind of very nice scene where they hold, he holds her hands, just to kind of reassure her.
We'll figure it out in the morning.
You figure it out in the morning, yeah.
Figure it out in the morning, just relax, just you need rest.
Yeah. He has another dream where Data is painting, and while Dana is painting in the vineyard, that I'm sure if you've seen the trailer, that's
He was like saying, would you like to finish it?
Yeah, yes.
And the face is missing in the girl, and then I think when he wakes up, he realizes
he was like,
that's where I saw her face before. Yeah.
So he goes, they go to treat Dahj, but Dahj is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was in his office or something, and
his study. He looks behind him
above the fireplace.
And there's the painting.
And there's the painting, right?
Yeah. So he goes to the Federation archives, and this is when we see, this is where there's a lot of callbacks there. We saw the Stargazer, there's a model of the Enterprise E, Captain Picard Day banner.
When I saw the Captain Picard banner, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was starting to get a little emotional there. I was like,
the captain's yacht was there. When they showed this too, like this was obviously like a, hey, here, look at all these things. But it's like in the background, it's not like, let's show all these things super close up, and it's just there because these are things that were
because it's like his storage facility, right? Like it's where he puts stuff, so it's like all his stuff. Yeah,
he's asking the holographic index. Has anyone been in here? Has anyone been here for servicing? He sees the painting and he finds out Data had painted it in 2369. You know what I mean? So it's a very old painting, and it was titled Daughter. So as he's leaving, while this is happening, Dahj is, she has fled, she calls her mom. She's still in France. And she calls her mom and, she explains what's happened. And the mom says, go back to Picard. And she realizes, I didn't tell you about
that
Picard.
classic, I didn't say that. How did you know? It's a very,
which is a very
classic plot device, but it worked.
Yeah. And at the same time, if you look closely to the mom while Dahj was talking to her, it kind of glitched or cut for a moment.
Which makes you wonder, like, okay, so is this really your mom? Is someone else impersonating your mom? Is this all fake?
Is your mom in on it from the beginning? Because obviously she didn't give birth to you if you're an android.
She says, look for Picard, and then suddenly she goes into like android mode again and starts fiddling around with stuff, and she locates Picard. We're assuming she does. We don't see it on screen, I don't think, but we're assuming that she does a site-to-site transport because, we don't
really see how she's getting around, but I mean, there's ways to get around.
Transporters everywhere.
Star Trek
is standard transport procedure at this point, right?
So as Picard is leaving the archives, Dahj finds him, and he tries to tell her, no, this painting was painted. He's telling her about Data and all that stuff, and I thought the thing is that in this scene, Picard, when he's talking, one thing I noticed is that it's almost as if, and I don't know if this is something that Picard is, I don't know if this is Stewart's acting or if this was how they wrote it or what, but the feeling I'm conveying is like Picard is so convinced of this and he wants it to be true. So
he really wants a piece of Data to be alive. Yeah. And he's like, if this is you, then I will protect you with my life. Yeah, like, and I think if you really are, then
you're super special to me, right? The thing is that I feel it could also be a red herring. And I'll get into this in a little bit, but, because to me, the fact that he wants her to so bad to be Data's daughter, I don't think, I mean, she might be, she might have been created using what they had left of Data, right? Right. But she might not be Data's daughter in per se.
Well, yeah. Right? How do you measure a daughter? But I think like just to him, like any part of Data still alive, and she seems to have some of his memories because she remembers Picard so clearly, like or something, some shadow of them. Yeah. He's like, I think, kind of like a long lost family member, like I'm trying to think like uncle or something to her, like you're my responsibility now.
Yeah. Which we'll get into in a second. Well, I mean, you've watched this, you've probably seen the episode.
If you're watching this,
you've seen, I hope you've seen the episode.
I don't think anything we're saying would make sense if you hadn't
seen
the
episode. We are in spoiler mode anyway.
We're in spoiler mode. I mean, Maddox, took over, right? But
so speaking of Maddox, they name dropped him.
Well, I was not expecting Maddox. we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
There's
We
still
jumped to the end.
There's still a very big scene that happens.
Yeah, should probably do that.
Yes. She's like, she's describing how I can hear people from a block away, and like people are, they're coming, right?
Yeah.
They're coming for us.
Humans can't do that, honey.
Yeah.
I don't think you're quite who you
but
think you are.
But it's nice, she's like, am I a freak? He's like, no, you're not a freak. You're special. Like,
Yeah.
am I a murderer machine?
It's
Like,
sweet,
no.
yeah.
And again, it's like, no,
Yeah.
you are a person. It's just like before. It's not Romulan lives. It's lives that we
Mhm.
were saving. Right?
Yeah.
You're a person. You're part of a people. That's the whole premise about that particular scene, right?
You're not less than because you're different.
Yeah, and this kind of reflects on our current times right now, where you have so many people who identify as themselves differently than what other people would be saying otherwise. So,
And there's a lot of pushback on that, And
Exactly.
I think this is for me. This is I think again, this is the bread and butter we need to get into, which I think is very
Right.
lacking in Discovery. Is that we need to be dealing and having analogies for these issues that are happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
and it's great. It's great. Personally for me, it's a welcome back Star Trek for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the JJ-itis. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. But yeah, and one thing I will say is that when Dahj is leading Picard away, we have to go like, I like to think that it's Picard. It's Stewart acting like, because he's old.
He's an old man. She's dragging him along, and I'm like,
He's like,
poor
I
guy.
can't- He's like, I can't run. I'm not. Dahj, wait.
80
I am like
years
an
old,
80.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
He's fallen behind a little bit. And she should really just have like stashed him somewhere and then
He's
ran
not as
herself or
fit
something.
as he used to be.
Christian was saying, it says elder abuse, making Patrick Stewart act this, at this age. But it was like, I hope.
He chose to do it, and I feel like he did
I
not
feel-
run constantly the same way that Picard was.
Yeah, he would not.
I
do
think
this
he's
unless he
fine.
loved doing this.
No, it's either that or he's just damn good actor. That's because he's
I
Patrick
believed it.
Stewart.
I believed it. But yeah, they get into a fight. Sorry, they don't get into a fight. The Romulans attack. Dahj is like kicking butt. And then there's a scene where where it's obvious that Dahj is winning. Picard is at the bottom of a stairway. She does this giant leap, right? Where it was like a superhuman leap.
Mhm.
Yeah,
all the way
you're
across.
definitely not normal.
definitely
Sorry,
not a
honey.
human. Yeah. And she, Romulan's about to be incapacitated, but I guess he bites down on and then it's revealed that these are Romulans, by
Yeah.
the way. With
Yeah,
helmet
at this
helmet
point,
comes off,
because
he probably bites down on like an acid tooth, common against
Mhm.
assassins, like the thing that, the thing that kills whatever. He spits it at Dahj, which, starts to burn away at her, and a piece of acid burns through a dropped plasma rifle, which explodes, killing Dahj. Dahj dies. Like,
yeah,
I was not expecting that.
I was shocked about that. I'm like,
So my concern wasn't with that. It's the following scene, which I felt was the one I was concerned about in terms of the JJ-itis. Like, where I felt it was so rushed. Like, I felt like we got more time to grieve for Dahj's boyfriend, who we only see in one scene and never see again, versus Dahj, who we're supposed to have this emotional connection to, and they didn't give us enough time to grieve for her. Like, it's just she died, and the two Romulan aides. And I find it suspicious that the two Romulan aides, are basically kind of explaining away, like, no, the security footage never showed anything. The police didn't mention anything.
I didn't get that as suspicious. Because I feel like we already
it's
kind of.
suspicious.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I didn't find it necessarily suspicious, but it was very abrupt. Like, this explosion goes off, he gets knocked back, presumably knocked out, and like he just wakes up on his couch at home, and I'm like, okay, but what happened in between? Like, how did he get there?
Yeah, how did he?
Why
yeah.
is if some authorities came after the explosion, why isn't he in like a hospital or something? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, what's their story?
Yeah.
Exactly. Why isn't Starfleet intelligence there? An admiral just got
you'd think if
blown
a
back,
huge,
and-
if there's a huge explosion in public, like somebody would be
Someone would
investigating
have seen
it.
something.
Someone would have seen something.
And you could explain that all away with
Yeah.
plot devices and stuff like that. But for me, I just feel like the fact that the male Romulan aide was kind of explaining it away.
Well, and also,
Kind of-
like,
that's
how
why
did
I find it
they
suspicious.
get access to the security footage?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
now that you're mentioning it, I'm like, that is a little weird.
Yeah.
It is a little
Um,
suspicious.
But that for me, that was
It
just
might
the only thing.
just be the pacing of the show. They might have decided
wanted to move on to the
move
next
on
scene.
to him kind of trying to figure out more about Dahj now that he's got these pieces.
Yeah. And the next scene, he goes to finally we
Yeah.
get to see the Daystrom Institute. We've
Yeah.
heard about this for like
Forever. Like forever. We finally get to be at the Daystrom Institute. And
Yeah.
it just
And
happens
it's
to be in
empty
Okinawa.
in certain parts.
Yeah.
Empty in certain parts, but
And
probably
we,
with good reason.
we finally get to meet Dr. Jarate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I love Alison Pill as this character. She's I don't know. There's just something about their character that I just find kind of spunky. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like she's got these lines. Like for example, it's like Picard asks
If it would be possible to create an android
And she's,
out
like,
of human
laughing.
parts or something like that, yeah,
yeah,
like an organic android,
and
basically.
she laughs, thinking it's a joke, and then she realizes,
Wait, you're serious?
yeah. But the thing is that when Pill does the switch from that, because we've seen this trope before, like you're serious part, it's always like. I don't know. It doesn't always handle nicely. I felt she handled that actually quite nicely.
Good transition, yeah. And then she does kind of take it seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
And she also, gets the lines like, "I wish you'd come in on my day off."
Yeah, which I love.
I like that. I'm like, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, but then that's when they name drop. That's when they name drop Maddox, right? And it's like, oh my god, Maddox.
Yeah. I was like, Bruce Maddox.
Which we were discussing it before the episode, and I totally missed that connection. And then Alvin had to explain to me, like, remember, Maddox was from this episode. I'm like, oh, yes, no, I know exactly who you mean now.
And
Yeah.
the thing is that
I wasn't expecting the name drop, so I think I kind of went over my head because I was like concentrated more on like what was happening in the episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't hurt that I literally just watched A Measure of a Man. So
Yeah, and I feel like every Star Trek that had any sort of characters like, Data, the Doctor, 7 of 9, like those kind of characters, they always had an episode where like they had to prove that they were like a person or at least sentient. Like they kind of all had that.
those episodes.
It's a classic Star Trek kind of thing.
Yeah, and then of course we get into and here's the thing. Yeah, Jarate's starting to talk about how they were trying to replicate Data even though he had died, and after the ban, the synthetic ban, it was even harder. Maddox just took it really hard, of course, and then he's disappeared. He's mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah.
So, and then suddenly, he's Picard's here saying, no, I've met this robot.
I
So,
had tea with her.
yeah, I'm wondering if Dahj and Sanji, who we meet later on after we learn that there are twins.
Which
Yeah.
there were two paintings.
via the necklace from Dahj.
Yeah,
And
which is
as soon
also-
as Dr. Girardi saw him, she was all like,
I recognize this
Yeah.
symbol, this
Yeah.
molecule is whatever it's supposed to be. And,
yeah.
and then they get into some really
Sci-fi mumbo jumbo.
sci-fi moment.
Yeah, techno babble about.
I don't think it's as bad as and I mentioned this to you guys earlier. Khan's Super Blood. It's nowhere near. There's been way worse.
It's not that
sci-fi.
bad for Star Trek levels of techno babble.
Yeah, it's in the middle. I'd say.
In a way, it's not Star Trek without some form of technobabble.
It's not.
you
It's
know?
not the same without
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
some made up process. So yeah, I'd like to know. I feel like we're gonna find out more about this one at least, which is nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as they have some more techno babble to back it up, it'll seem more real. I think. So,
Yeah, and then it becomes obvious that then in the subsequent episodes we're going to be seeing Sanji and Picard trying to protect and save Sanji, who we see in the very next scene where we're introduced to Narek, who's obviously evil because he's Romulan.
Alvin's
also-
convinced he's obviously evil, but I mean, he was pretty sketchy in that.
Well, I
in
mean
that
the
scene.
music that's playing, right? And I felt the scene was awkward, but it's just weird. I felt as honestly, Sanji's there holding the same necklace, the same version of the necklace, and I feel like the whole scene was just like, here's a necklace. I have a sister. I also had a brother.
Yeah.
And I just felt that whole scene was a little not on. I wasn't on par with the rest of the episode.
You felt it was forced.
Yeah, I felt it very.
Yeah,
forced.
because I kind of felt the same way.
kind of tacked on at the end,
Yeah.
which again I think is why I kind of I'm like, okay, you're tacking this bit on, and we want to know more about this, but now you're ending the episode.
And I feel it was fine for
Yeah.
I don't mind it being on the end of the episode. I just feel like the execution of that scene should have been handled differently. Again,
It's supposed to be awkward because I felt like they were like meeting for the first time, and again maybe
Yeah, they were supposed to be-
he's holding stuff back. I felt like I think he's maybe presenting himself in a way that he thinks she'll be more receptive or maybe sympathetic to, and
Yeah.
so maybe it was supposed to be kind of awkward. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then of course they pull back and we see that it is inside a Borg cube, right?
But it was a Romulan reclamation.
Remembrance reclamation site.
So why is it inside a Borg cube?
We'll find out
Well, I
next
guess we'll find
episode,
out.
I guess. Yeah.
I was like, is that coincidence? It looks like a Borg cube, or is it actually a Borg cube?
No, yeah. The Romans have been experimenting with they experiment with that's what they do. They
It just
experiment
seems
with stuff.
weird.
Yeah. So I'd like to see what exactly is this site and what are we
Yeah.
how do they get this Borg cube? Did they build it? Did they find it? Where are the Borg? We know they're coming. We know the Borg are featured, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, overall, like I really enjoyed it. Those two scenes that I stuck on, those are the only things that I felt was kind of off, a little bit weird. Overall, I'm super happy with it. I love the slow pace.
Yeah,
much better.
I'm a little worried. Like, I don't know if they're going to keep that. Like, I'm a little worried they're going to ramp up to more of an actiony pace in next episodes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, but like I said, we already have Discovery. Like, if we want like a real fast-paced, actiony kind of Star Trek, I would like.
And I'm starting to think of Discovery as like the popcorn Star Trek, right? Which is what the JJ movies are.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So I'm hoping, like you are, that they keep kind of some of the slower pace. I mean, with like the actiony bits, like Next Gen had, like, but
Yeah,
there's
like
still a lot of talking, character development, that kind of thing.
yeah. For the most part, I didn't feel like I was being rushed, except for those two scenes that stuck out
Right.
for me. So yeah, I'm just maybe too.
Yeah.
It's just Patrick Stewart's great acting. That I felt
Yeah.
like some of those other scenes didn't quite work, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I think he's a great actor. No, that's why he's Patrick Stewart.
yeah. So I don't know about you, but I'm super excited for the next episode. Can't wait until it comes out. I don't 10 episodes. We have 9 episodes left. Like I don't know. I don't know how I want to do it. Like,
It's gonna go by really fast.
It's
Yeah.
gonna go by real fast, so we'll have to like savor it, right? That's
Yeah.
to savor each.
Yeah.
like a fine wine.
Mhm, exactly.
Picard
Right.
wine,
And he talks to his dog in French.
which is
Right?
sweet.
Which was
yeah.
pretty nice.
I'm super excited to see the next episode. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Trekily theme is Gravity by Stanley Gurvich, found on Artlist. All stock images and videos were acquired through Pixabay, podcasting services acquired through Spreaker. All images and videos related to Star Trek are owned by CBS Corporation and are used within fair use laws. Please don't sue us.
Hi everyone. Thanks for performing a site-to-site transport with us today.
If you like our show, please like and subscribe and hit that notification button.
We really enjoy doing these shows for you, so if you'd like to help support the show, please consider buying us a coffee.
You can do that at cooldiscuss.com, where you can also check out our other shows.
Until next time, peace and long life.
We're not all saying it.
Oops.